Hello, everyone. Welcome to Drumfills Café. My name is Denis, and welcome to another episode of this 11th season. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. As usual, I'll ask you to go check out the social media pages of Drumfills Café. That is the TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook pages to do a like, and of course, to subscribe to those pages. And of course, I will ask you to go check out the main webpage, drumfillscafe.com, to know about all the other seasons that we did, all the editorials, content. It's all on the website, drumfillscafe.com. Go check it out. So tonight, my guest is a drummer, guitarist, producer, multi-talented musician. He has played and recorded with artists such as Whitesnake, Billy Idol, Ozzy Osbourne, Cedar, Velvet Revolver, Foreigner, Sass Jordan, China Rain, and of course, the Dead Daisies. He's currently playing with the Gene Simmons Band, and on a personal note, he's just got such an amazing groove and energy that's hardly matched in rock and roll today, in my personal opinion. Please give it up for a big rock welcome for Brian Tichy.
Sounded like there should be some kind of arena cheer going on in the background, but
I can add it afterwards.
It was crickets. It was freaking crickets.
I can add.
How you doing?
I'm good, Brian. Thanks for joining us. Thanks so much for taking the time with us.
Yeah, you picked some interesting bands in there of the bands I played with. You said China Rain. I'm like, wow, that's like, I think 1-2 people may have bought that CD or something. Yeah, it's funny. That's funny. You even found that information.
I did my research, as they say.
Yeah.
But anyways, being serious for a second, thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm doing this, and I'm gonna get in my car and go play some racquetball.
Oh, nice. So a little bit of sports, of course.
Love it. I love racquetball. I'm beyond competitive, and I'm a sore loser, but I still can't help that I love playing racquetball. I have one buddy that's a little bit better than me.
Okay.
Maybe more than a little bit better. But we try to play regularly, for years and years, sometimes we have long gaps, but as the past year, we've been pretty steady, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's good cardio, man. It's an awesome cardio to play racquetball.
Oh yeah. I everything about it, top to bottom.
Yeah.
the whole from when I was like 12 years old, my dad goes like, "You want to go play racquetball?" I didn't know anything about it. Yeah. We went in there and he's like, "This is it. This is what you do. Got to hit the front wall." And I was like, "Whoa, this ball is so fast. This is great." And I loved it.
Yeah. Awesome. So basically what I usually do is kind of ask the sort of the main question, but it gets us starting, which is, of course, for you, how did it all started for you saying, that's it, it's drums, I want to do that? How did it start for you?
I don't know. It just was a thing that was a thing. It's that simple. I think that's probably the case with most musicians.
Yeah.
It's just you're attracted to it and you don't know why. Something about music, something about rhythm. But for me, it was the drums, whether it was a picture of the drums or hearing drums. It was always the center of the mix to me. It was always where my ear went. So one thing leads to another. Maybe I got a little snare drum as a Christmas gift or something. I think I did. And then I got a fake drum set, but it was just this attraction to rock and roll drums. Just really, I want to say it was everything. It was like a groove is a groove. Like keeping time was just that in itself was awesome. And then the fills were like icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Back to the groove. I just loved it all since I was a little kid. And once I started, I never stopped, never questioned it, and never thought there was going to be anything else. It was that simple. Dad's a musician. He could play piano, sing, accordion, guitar, could play beat on the drums. So there was music around. My mom could play piano too. So there was all this music going on around me, but nobody pushed me to drums. I don't think anybody gets pushed to drums. It was just there, and it never left. And I'm glad that I can sit here all these decades later and be like, cool, this is what I do. Same concept. Just now you got to be an adult and pay bills.
Yeah, exactly. You can play that stuff and then make money to pay the bills.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah. But I'm just glad that I do it, even though this business is crazy. The business can lots of ups and downs for everybody. It doesn't matter how successful, I guess.
Right.
Even the biggest artists go through ups and downs. Crazy stuff. Extreme stuff. But whether it's financial or drugs or whatever, or just the success of the band itself. Yeah. But that's part of it. The beauty of it is there's always this new day scenario every day of anything can change. And the stronger your past is, I think the stronger you can create a future,
That's interesting. So in other words, the more accomplishments or the more stronger you are as a person that you can
Well,
kind of navigate the
accomplishments and experience in general, because every experience you learn from and it makes you wiser, and you go, well, I'm not going to do that again, or I know now not to do that.
right.
Whatever it is, there's a long list, or it's good to do this,
Mm.
whether it's how to be in a band when you get a gig, or audition stuff, or just general business stuff, and you learn from it. And of course, if you have somewhat of a decent resume, that helps with your name going around, because it's still, no matter what, whether it was 70s, 80s, 90s, and it was a whole different music business compared to like the internet coming out and changing the whole design of
Yeah.
everything we do,
Yeah.
it's still word of mouth,
Mm.
still can be like, I saw this video of somebody and he's really good, and check it out. Oh, cool. Call him up. It can be the next thing you can be the singer in Journey or the singer in Boston,
Right. That's
and
happened. Right. The whole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
this is great stories, and that's the
Yeah.
internet,
Yeah.
so you can promote yourself now. So if you can take advantage of what you've done in the past, hopefully, like I said, if it's, you have a decent resume or whatever, you just, hopefully there's good word of mouth, and hopefully that stuff can keep you going,
Well, it's definitely seemed to work for you because you worked with a lot of artists. But before we get that, was your main influences like Zeppelin and AC/DC and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
the first band ever was Kiss, because we're talking mid-70s, like
Nice.
76, Kiss was huge. And a friend of mine, they were twins actually. I went over to their house and they had Kiss records, and they had a snare drum and a little splash cymbal in front of the speakers of the stereo. And every week we were taking turns keeping time playing to a Kiss song on Destroyer. And I was like, wow, look at this band. And then I looked at the record covers. We were playing to the tunes. I'd never heard them before. And that was how I got introduced to Kiss. And it was a done deal from then on. And that's all I did for the first couple of years was play to Kiss records, just incessantly. I might have got a couple other records here and there, but it was really, really Kiss first. And then everybody followed soon after, Zeppelin, Van Halen, Rush, Aerosmith,
Yeah.
AC/DC, Nugent, Foreigner,
Yeah.
but played whatever, just play to the radio. And but for me it was all about the game changer for me. I kind of think this is cool to talk about a little bit, because
Sure.
I don't think it's something I did that's unique. I just think maybe not everybody did this. But when I first got a proper drum set, it was in the basement of the house. Like, I think there was a string from the Christmas tree I followed down, and it led to, I was like, whoa, So the drums were down there. My dad had these two speakers downstairs tied to his stereo upstairs in the living
Right.
room.
Right.
So you go upstairs, you put a record on, or maybe a cassette. It was mostly records.
Right.
I run downstairs and play to it. So I'd crank the speakers, but there's no way over the drums and the cymbals I'm going to hear the detail of the music.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I was always struggling, and this might only have been for a few months, like fourth grade, trying to keep time. And one thing I did, this was great. One day a radio station goes, we're doing A to Z Zeppelin. And this is how pathetic it is, though. I go, Zeppelin all day. Okay, I've heard of this band. That's all new to me. I get a little tape recorder. I stick it next to one of the speakers that had some blank cassettes, and I just hit record all day long on three. It was like I got a lot of it. And I would put these cassettes on, hit play. It was A to Z, so you don't know what record, whatever. and I heard all this Zeppelin, but it was overwhelming, and it didn't sound good because it was recorded from the speaker. But I turned that on, and so I'd only hear one side of the mix,
Right, of course.
playing through. So I try to play to that, but it was just difficult to play along. I brought my drums upstairs into my bedroom. I had my own record player. I had headphones, and then put the headphones on. I didn't know how to tune drums. They didn't sound good, but all of a sudden the cymbals, you know, they're more controllable. You know, they're not bright and piercing your ear.
Yeah.
And the drums actually sounded more thuddy. I was like, oh, my drums sound better. But I can hear the music and I crank it up to 10. This is like, I mean, always. It was like probably almost distorted. But I would play to my favorite records over, like the record player was right there. Drums right here, record player there. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And that was the place to be for me more than anywhere else on the planet. Always. That was it. Play the records. Stop the record, improv, play, work on a solo thing, put a record on. Just over and over and over. Yeah. So, but the point of that was, I thought it was, I think it's really important for anybody, drummers, like, play to a click and all that kind of stuff. But playing the music, just get it where the music is, you can really hear that 2 and 4. You can hear the drums. So you know you're playing along. And back then, nobody's playing the clicks. So if you're playing,
Exactly. Yeah, the 70s now.
Bands,
You're
playing to try to match the drummer's feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was I would go from Rush to AC/DC, and AC/DC was like an exercise in play simple and remember every crash symbol, you know. And Rush was like remember every part.
Yeah.
And there were different kinds of tests: the test in simplicity but nailing it, and a test in remembering a lot of stuff. Then sometimes I'd double it, I'd trade it, and I put on AC/DC and overplay to see if I can keep my fills. But these were like, looking back, I was doing it because it was fun. I wasn't doing it as practice. It was like, if I want to play an AC/DC, I got to be able to do a fill and come right out with Phil Rudd. I got to nail all the Joey Kramer. I got to nail the Bond. And it was really, it's a great form of practice. I don't think it's anything special. I'm sure tons of drummers and musicians do it. You play along. That's what we do. But I was really focused on different ways of doing it, like either trying to play just like the record or improving, overplaying, just to see if I could. And then teach myself a lot of stuff. I took private lessons where I learned rudiments, and my teacher said, you got to play traditional grip. So I did for 3 years.
Okay.
But, I was playing traditional. Like, there's photos of me playing at the high school talent show or something. I mean, I was younger. Maybe somehow I got into this talent show it's like 5th grade, but it was for like 7th, 8th grade or something like that. But anyways, I have pictures of me playing traditional grip. And then I got the 8-track of Highway to Hell. And every time I go to the chorus and it'll go bam, bam, Highway to Hell, I have to crash to my left. I think I eventually got a second crash. And I just didn't like doing that. I didn't
traditional.
I liked that. So it became play traditional at the lessons only, and everything else is match grip. So my teacher was heel down, and he was adamant about it, and he had a really good foot. He was a great drummer. But I just played lightly in the lessons. But when I go home, it was heel up. And then I learned a double stroke. On the kick drum, and I was like, that heel up and go boom.
That heel toe thing.
Dancing, you got to feel the dancing, and I feel too grounded with the heel down. It's just
you feel. I see what you mean.
And now
I got to pick and choose a few things that you said that are interesting. Number one, I agree with that, because what you just described is basically what I did as a kid. I think most of us, that's what we did. And at first you think, well, I'm not learning the rudiments and stuff, but I'm learning about musicality. I'm learning about the feels. I'm learning about musicality. I'm learning what not to do, what to do. Okay, this is a fill because, the singer's not singing and it's time to do a little bit of fill, or we're changing to another part of the song. So I think that's very important, because if you're just doing the rudiments and stuff, but you have no musicality. I remember playing with a bassist that could do everything possible on the bass. And we tried to play a Beatles song and he couldn't do it. He couldn't just get the feel of it because he hadn't practiced that stuff, So I'm agreeing with you with everything you just said. And one of the tricks I was doing was turning down the radio and keeping my drums going, and see if I back up the radio, if I was still with the drummer on the radio.
Well, that's cool.
Most of the
Yeah.
time I was sometimes a little off, but that was another trick I would do.
Yeah, that's great. It's yeah, any all those learning from teachers is great. Learning from friends or other drummers is great. And then zoning out and just not knowing things and trying to come up with it on your own. Going, I don't know how, but let me see.
Let me see,
That's
yeah.
I mean, that's probably the best because then you create your own style. And then if you become one of those people that's identifiable through their groove or their tone
Yeah.
or their licks, whatever. That's the top of the mountain there. When you hear Alex Van Halen, John Bonham, whatever, Stu Copeland,
Yeah.
Moon, you go, yeah, that's them.
Yeah, you
Like
can,
that,
yeah,
man.
you can hear it.
That's a big mark. He's
Yeah.
great.
Moon going
Yeah.
just whatever drum he could find, or it still sound cool for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it all. I loved being busy in technique, and I still do. I don't practice enough, and whatever. That's a whole other thing. But back in the day, I loved the busy stuff, but I also loved whatever Kashmir from Zeppelin. Just
Right.
like
Just staying there.
if you're or whatever, Back in Black, Highway to Hell. That just to keep time under that music, that riff, that song, whatever, it was really exciting. It still is. When you can put a backbeat into something and you make it move a certain way, that's serious power to me. I mean, that's what it feels like. It feels like it's very powerful. And then the fills are there to say here I am, and I'm letting you know something's going to happen.
Right.
But it was already good because the groove was strong, because this, it's a drums, rock drums, really. I mean, there's so many styles, but I just grew up on rock, but it's just massively powerful. The 2 and 4. I've talked this recently with a couple people. It's just the backbeat. It's so freaking powerful. To what is it that makes people move? Disco, metal, whatever, rock. Just the backbeat. Why? The 1 and the 3 is cool, but that answer, it's massive.
I don't have the answer. I wish I had the answer, but it's just that's what it is. I don't have the answer. Yeah.
It moves humans. And imagine
Yeah.
living on this planet with no backbeat. Like,
Yeah.
okay, big band's killer. There's a lot of good jazz. There's all this great stuff, classical, but but humans didn't have that. This thing called this backbeat rock and roll thing to affect their emotions, to make them want to dance, to make them want to bang their head, put their fist in there, sing along, excitement, party, just lose yourself. There's other ways to do it, but man, that 2 and 4 thing is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
It moves. Rock and roll is, in the backbeat / rock and roll. Whatever. It's normal now. I don't care if it's pop. I don't care if it's, whatever. Taylor Swift to Meshuggah. I'm just saying the backbeat is there and it moves the world. It's massive. It's amazing. And there was a time where the big music in the 30s, big band, great. You're swinging, band's killing it. Everybody's locked up and swinging. It's another thing. Talk about swing, mixing the swing with the backbeat. But they didn't have that. It wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it came from like, I don't know, the trains going by, maybe.
I'd have to do some sort of ethnomusicology lookup sort of thing, but I know if you listen to Art Blakey and the jazz stuff, he was doing those that kind of shuffle backbeat stuff in the 50s or 60s or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course you can start with the whole like what's his name? I forget his name. The guitar player. Chuck Berry to all that stuff. I imagine
it's just such a great I'm just glad that I'm alive while there's a backbeat, because I think it's I don't want to say it's important. I just think it's great. And there was a time it wasn't there, and that's kind of like, wow, that's a different life. Imagine just no backbeat in your life, your whole fucking life. That's crazy.
Well, as drummers, I think it's just fun to play a backbeat as well, because it's kind of, and we're geeking out here, but you know, it's that space between this backbeat and the next backbeat, you know, and what am I going to play in between that is connected to what's happening in front of me or, you know, around me, whatever. And
What's awesome,
those, you know, those changes from backbeat to backbeat, which creates a groove.
you could have a drum set in the studio all mic'd up, right? And you have, well, it could be just 20 drummers, or I think it'd be even more fun to pick 20 famous drummers. Let's just put Gadd in there, Copeland, Weckl, Alex Van Halen. Just give me a list of 20 drummers, and they all sit down, and you go, all you have to do is play 8 bars. It's going to be eighth notes, 1, 2, you know, 1, 3 on the cake, backbeat, and just crash 4 bars, just go boom, back, and everybody at the same tempo, like everybody. But let's say no click. Don't play the click. Just play this. Here's right there. Okay, and everybody does it. It's great that everybody's going to have their own thing. The drums are going to sound completely different. There's going to be similarities, but there's going to be differences that drummers go, wow, and that's never been done before. I might try to do that sometime. Go get a studio for a day and film.
I want to be there.
20 drummers, and it's that simple. Just show up, and we could, if you're going to come and do it, maybe we can get a couple different tempos. But it's not about who can play better, or it's not about that. It's just to listen to the differences. I mean, I did have that experience when we do in the Bonzo Bash stuff, because every drummer would get on the same kit,
changes,
and you would hear the different sounds and the different, the volume. Somebody might be kick heavy, snare heavy, or different crack in the snare is a little different. It was really fun, you know, to see that and you know, and hear that.
I'm sure Stuart Copeland would probably do some sort of syncopated polyrhythmic thing by bar 4, basically.
Maybe. but I'd be like, well, we could do that. We could have, but that's the point, is to hear the differences in these very small little things that happen when each drummer plays. Like, why do I hear the Bonham or Michael DeRozier play a simple backbeat, and it's just like there's so much weight inside that? Why? Like, why? And I might,
it's feel,
you know, it's cool stuff. That's a good, cool, geeky thing, but I think that would be something a lot of people would dig. Now, just if hopefully nobody at Drumeo sees this and goes,
we'll keep it together. We'll keep it a secret just between us.
They have it. All the huge drummers are going there. They could see. Now I'm giving it away. Okay, we'll move on from there.
But I agree with everything you say. I'll just say that I agree with everything you say, because if you know put Stuart Copeland in AC/DC versus, you know, vice versa, it's not going to sound at all the same thing. So it's for sure.
It's all good stuff, but these are things you're not even thinking about as a kid when you get into drums. You don't, like I said,
no, you don't know
why.
Yeah.
But it's there, and I'm just glad that it was something that wasn't a hobby, that that excited me, because if it wasn't there, you know, that's my life. That's a musician's life. They dedicate their lives to an instrument, and the practice, and then the struggle of, are you going to meet the right people to start a band, or are you going to get gigs? Are you going to be able to pay your bills doing this when you get older? You're going to have real responsibilities, whether it's a wife, kids, you're just being an adult on this planet. Can I do this thing I love and take care of myself? And
that's a big question, because I think that's a question many of us ask, you know, because you take that dream as a kid into an adult life, and you're like, okay, you know, do I become the weekend warrior? Do I go out and, you know, try my best and be this guy who plays with the you know, that's a big question.
And part of the, you know, it's the what would you call the, you know, the ups and downs, the struggles, the you know, the trials and tribulations. You don't know what's going to happen. You know, you want to make it happen, so you're going to try really hard, and there's no guarantees. But when every little step forward, you're like, that wasn't there, and now it's there. I got to get to the next step. So for me, it was your own band selling at Madison Square Garden. That's it. It's you got 20,000 people in the Garden for your band, and that's where you got. It's a tall order. I mean, it happens. So there's a lot of bands, but I'm saying to find that chemistry of people in a band, write the music and stay focused and actually do
that's
something that,
yeah, that's tough.
so it's and all of it, that's, I mean, it's not like it's impossible. It's anything's possible, but to find the chemistry of the people and everything lines up and you're writing music that people are buying and then it gets to be where you're that size, that level of success, that's it's amazing. And it's in an original band compared to like, a hired gun like myself, where, you might end up in a good situation with a band that has done that, but that's not yours, So
Mhm.
that's always the goal. And if it doesn't happen, that's fine because you always go, well, I'm not there. So I still keep trying. And I'd rather try to hit stuff I haven't hit than just go, well, this is what I do and I'm okay with it. No, this is cool, but there's more. There's always more, At least for me, you know.
I gotta stop philosophizing. I would do it for another hour, but I gotta hit some markers of your career because I know some
Let's
people
do it.
want to know. But
Let's
that's, I mean, everything you've talked about is just love it,
but that's where I'm
love it.
at now, like, being older now, watching
Yeah,
decades go by and going,
yeah,
this isn't anything. You learn from the stuff, but then you also go, well, I don't get that decade back. I don't get that decade back. I can't go back and redo it. And then you start going, did I work hard enough? Did I do no, I might have made a good move here. Might have made didn't do this here, and I should have, etc. And then you go, well, from here on out, I've got to make more happen with all this experience and knowledge. Like,
mm,
but I don't know how. Like, I can't just wake up and go, this is what I'm going to do, and it's all going to work out. You know, I just know I'm going to keep trying. And then there's inspiration and uh, versus procrastination.
yeah.
The
That's
inspiration
the
might
flip.
be there, but
Yeah,
you got to feel it. Like, you can't have, as adults, we have all these things going on in our lives that can get in the way very easily,
mm,
and you can't just go click on, turn the switch on and go, let's write, let's make these calls, let's make these moves. Some people probably can, but it's, if you have other stuff, like I got to make these stupid phone calls relating to whatever that's got
mm,
nothing to do with music,
yeah,
your mind's not there. You got to get
yeah,
there's due dates, there's things you have to do. It's
yeah,
the way it goes. That's life. So it's just, you're always trying to find the balance and
yeah.
and and have fun with it all. You know, embrace what you've done, and just whatever. Stay positive and don't let anything get you down too much where you go, oh man, I should have done that last year, and I didn't because I kind of procrastinated and I was like kind of focused on so many other
No,
little things.
we've all been there. Yeah, we've all
So,
been there.
anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's all fun. Just play music. I'm just glad I'm.
But it's a beautiful thing, and I'm gonna end with this. But it's a beautiful thing what you're saying because it just goes to show that even, and I'm gonna compliment you, even at your level, having played with all these artists over the years, you're still in yourself going, oh wow, maybe you should do this, you're still sort of that path of trying and asking yourself questions. So it's a beautiful thing to show that because I know it's not the case, but I know some people would think, oh wow, he's got it made and he just can make a call and he's with Gene and that's it and it's done. And it's like, well, not necessarily, sort of thing. Yeah.
No, you want to talk to those people. You talk to our heroes. You talk to our Phil Collinses and Neil Pearts and Alex Van Halens and Bonhams. And I'm not saying that you literally. I'm saying those are the people you go to and you look at.
Hmm.
Yeah, that you want to go to the top. You talk about that stuff. Keith Moon, Ringo Starr. You want like it's attainable. These guys didn't know they were going to get there, and they got there.
Yeah.
Somebody else is going to get there. I mean, a good example. I know you got stuff to ask. This
That's
is
okay.
going to
It's okay. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go.
tie together because like a long time
Go
ago,
ahead.
I played with Sass Jordan. Did a
Yes.
record, Rats record in '93, came out in '94. Then I went to Zakk Wylde soon after. Did a little Canadian tour with her in that summer, and then I joined up with Zakk Wylde's band Pride and Glory. So that
Cool.
was the end of '93 through '94. Sass needed a new drummer because I was kind of there and I did the record. Well, ultimately, I think they had one guy for a little bit, and then when the record was coming out and they were starting the proper tour, um, the guitar player Stevie Salas found Taylor Hawkins. Somebody might have said, "Hey, check this kid out. He's playing a club," and he's like, "Oh, he's got all this fire and pizzazz, and he's exciting." But puts him in, and so Taylor's and Sass. Okay, so we met Sass and Pride and Glory. We did some shows together in Europe that summer, opening for Aerosmith, like, you know, cup in some Finland and somewhere else. So Taylor and I became friends. You know,
Nice.
we weren't super tight and all that stuff, but we were friends. Like we were,
Mm.
you know, that's it. We met, we're drummers, we're friends. And whatever. A year later, he's in Atlantis. You know, I was thinking.
Yep.
My point is, okay, Atlantis to the Foos. Okay, in a few years' time, he went from a gig to Sass, who was killer, and I still talk to, and we're re-releasing our Sun records,
Oh,
SUN,
nice.
something and nothing. Yeah, that's soon happening. But within a few years, he went to be the drummer for what, 20-something years in one of the biggest bands on the planet that another drummer from another huge band started, which is just a complete that in itself. The whole Dave Grohl thing's amazing because
Yeah.
it's one of those, what are the chances? But you get that guy, that talent, and get him, you know, put him in this as a drummer in this band that changes the course of rock, and that all ends tragically. And he goes,
Yeah.
"Well, man, I'm freaking in my mid-20s here. I've got all this stuff I want to do, but I come from this huge band, so everybody knows him, and he's got money in the bank. So it's like, what else am I gonna do? I'm gonna go for it. Maybe some other people wouldn't, but he did. He went for it hard and
Yeah.
hugely successful. Taylor jumps into that. Now he's in one of his biggest bands with another amazing drummer and rides that for 20 years. You know what I mean? And that's
Yep.
another thing. He kept the gig. You know,
Yep.
it's not his band, it's Dave's, but it worked out where it just worked out. You know, so there are, that stuff's going to happen, and it, you know, so there might be another amazing story like that coming around the corner.
Mm.
So you look at that stuff, you go, anything can happen to anybody at any time, you know, good or bad. So you just got to, you know, just keep going for it, really. You know, it's all real simple. It's just keeping your focus, just staying positive and being focused, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody really thinks.
All
And
right.
that's a
True.
hard thing to get over. Like,
Yes.
you worry about what people are going to say, because we all sit there with our friends and talk shit about everything, you know, whatever. That's what we all do. But you're respectful. You don't want to
Yeah.
be that guy out in the pub. You know, I mean, if there are people like that, but I just don't think it serves my life well to sit there. But I like joking around and goofing, and everybody mocks everything out, and
Yeah,
that's
but
what
it's all in good fun. It's not. There's no ill intent behind it. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, you just can't worry. You can look back and go, I worried, or you can look back and go, I didn't care about that stuff and I did it, and this is what came of it. And if you don't do that, you're never gonna know. You're just
Mm.
not gonna know. I
Yeah.
could talk all this stuff, but am I doing it as hardcore as I'm talking it? No, because I'm a human being, and you know, it's a lot of things are easier said than done, you know. And then
Sure. But
so
again, I thank you for sharing this tidbit of how you're feeling, because again, it just goes to show the humanity and of course the vulnerability and of course what we all go through, basically, no matter what the level, basically.
yeah, and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and maybe there are those guys. Maybe the reason I said that stuff about Taylor was because it lined up, and it's not that it just came his way and he was lucky. It's not that.
No,
It's
he
like
worked for it. He worked for it. I mean,
whatever.
I was side stage for one of his shows in Pukopop in Belgium with we have a small band basically that was lucky to go tour in Europe, and we stood side stage and we watched him beat the crap for like 2 solid hours. Like, he was working hard for that show.
Oh
And
yeah, I mean,
it
but
was like, okay,
that's
like he earned that gig though, for sure.
but that's his natural energy,
Yeah.
which definitely helps propel, you know, his possibilities and potential to
Yeah.
get new options happening. But I'm saying, you know, you have to be a good drummer, good guy. You have to have something going on. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be. You just let things line up, and
Yep.
it worked out.
Yep.
And it's. But my point was, it can happen like that. But like when you said, oh, people think, oh, it's you just get calls. You do get calls because if you have a good track record, you've worked with a lot of people, so people can
Yep.
say, "Oh, yeah, hopefully you're on
Yep.
their mind." You got to stay
Yep.
sort of relevant. You can't just sit. I guess you can. You can sit there and do nothing, and the phone rings. But I look at it like, just keep yourself out there. I don't like doing social media. I really don't. But it's like, if I'm starting to share more things now. Like, well, I
Yeah.
play guitar, play drums. I don't only play hard rock drums with these bands that I've been in. Like I do other stuff. So why am I not sharing that? Nobody, like just who cares? I'd rather put it out there than not because it's something I put time into, So I'd rather I don't care if it's a lot of people, the small amount of people, but if somebody goes, oh yeah, I saw this video you did or whatever, that I liked it. I liked your drum sound or your groove or whatever. Great, because that's stuff you're going to see me do that I'm not doing in these other bands I've been hired by.
Yeah. Well,
But
I mean, as a compliment, this is how I got to you, because I saw your solo. I think you did some sort of solo somewhere, and you just killed it. Anyway, I want to talk about that eventually during the interview, but
sure. Well,
just
yeah,
just killed it, and I was like, who is this guy? Holy crap! Like, and then went down the rabbit hole of like all these bands, and then found out you were with Sass and everybody. So yeah, so that's why I got interested in what you do. So you are relevant, sir.
Yeah.
I got to go down a couple of the artists because I know some people want to know how it was. But basically, yes, we talked about Sass. How was that experience, and how did you get the gig with Sass back in the day?
Okay, I'll be quick. I'm touring with Vinnie Moore, guitar player, virtuoso, killer guitar player. He plays in UFO now. We're touring the country and his instrumental, kind of heavy guitar hero stuff. We played at the Roxy. Guitar player Stevie Salas sees me in the middle of my little drum solo there.
Right.
Roxy's right next to the Rainbow. We pop into the Rainbow before, this is like 1992, the beginning of 92. And I meet Stevie, trade phone numbers. See you later. Through the year, we keep in touch. He ends up writing the Rats record with Sass, right? So he's doing that. And a year later, he's like, hey, come out during NAMM and do this Randy Rhoads tribute jam with us at the Palace in Hollywood. It's going to be me and T.M. Stevens and Richie Kotzen and Sass. And I'm like, I'm in New Jersey. So I fly out because it's an opportunity and I needed to meet new people and, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And I went and we jammed and it went well. Everything was cool. I crashed at his place. And the next day he's like, hey, come in the studio and let's just record a demo for Sass. So we did it. This guy's little garage studio at the back of his house. And I brought my leady snare with me because I would always bring the snare because I'm pretty damn sure I did. I always brought the snare with me.
The good snare.
It had a sound. It's like, but this snare I had since I was a kid. It just had a conk, conk. And it was like, there it is. We tracked this song and they started flying me out to continue doing the record for the next few months. And then I did the summer tour with her. So that's how I know Sass. And the song we tracked that day was just a demo, but Stevie just wanted to check me out in the studio. And I don't think there was a click. I don't think we played the clicks then. I know we didn't. No. And anyways, the song was High Road Easy. And it was the first single off that record. So the whole thing with Stevie was the funk of it, and it was like he knew what he wanted. He was and I just took it all. It's a session. Just go in there and do it. But the cool thing, I think he played guitar with me because we weren't doing a click. So he said, and it became the first single. And it was on the radio a bit and stuff. And so that was nice. That was a nice way, a nice little chain of events from just going out there to the jam with Stevie to playing on a Sass track, which became a friendship and that we still have to this day, and started our own band and all that.
I remember hearing that song back in the day, local radio station, and it was like, what is this? This is so awesome, because we were used to Sass being more of a pop singer, backup pop singer sort of stuff. Yeah. And now she's doing her own band. It's really rocking bluesy stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing.
The record before, she made a bit of a transition and more like, bluesy-ish rock with the Make You a Believer kind of thing. But her voice was so geared for that. It was just like, that's what it's built for. But that her tone, her rasp, and all we started a band together 10 years ago or something. And we just tried to write when she was in town, and we hit it off, and she continued to come out, and we made a record. And I played, we did it all, just the two of us, with Michael Devin played a bunch of bass on it. He was in Whitesnake for a bunch of years, and I've known him for a long time. But we did this record on our own. I played drums and guitars, and I tried to keep it more simple because I know she didn't care about the shred stuff and all that showboat stuff. Yeah. But recording her, she's just one of those people. Every take's a good take. You just figure out which one's the better one. It's just effortless. It just opens her mouth, pow, there it is, and you're like, God damn, that's badass. She's just Such a great singer. Awesome.
Mm,
And
yeah,
inspired. Like, so you're writing and she's like right there with a lot of energy and like,
nice,
yeah, all right, but immediately starting to, the wheels are rolling, the ideas are coming in. Yeah, really
nice.
cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, anyways, say she's got a fan in Montreal. You can say bonjour from my part because I was ever since that record came out, I became a fan. I really
Yeah,
became a fan of
solid record, great
yeah,
rock record, totally
yeah.
cool.
I gotta ask, technical question. What are you doing at the end? Is it triplets? That thing that fill at the end of High Road Easy.
That's my show off high school lick that I made up because I didn't know what Bonham was doing, which I still use to this day when I have a single pedal. Because you put a
Okay.
double pedal in, you can make that just jump out twice as powerful. But if you want to know exactly what it is,
Yeah.
I mean, I know exactly what it is because I made it up in high school, and I was like, that sounds kooky. It sounds like you're falling down the stairs,
Right.
which what Bonham would do, the Bonzo Fury kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
what it is when I do flams, this is drummer geek stuff,
Yeah.
right? I'm a righty, but I do a lefty flam meaning it's a right flam. The left drops first. So I go
Right.
left, right. That's not normal for righty drummers. There's some that do it. Because I teach whenever somebody wants a lesson, I'll teach whatever I can. But so I've done this, taught a lot over the decades, right? I say decades now instead of years because it's freaking really is decades. But most righty drummers go right left because it's
Yep.
this right, your right side dominated, person is everything's going to lead with the right. I somehow have the smidge of lefty in me. So with that said, when I do a triplet, hand, foot, it's left, right foot. Okay. Most righties go right, left foot.
Yep.
Right. So then Bonham does left, right foot. And most people go, oh, he must have practiced it. It's this like secret. He's worked on his left lead. No, I think he just did it because I just did it. I don't know why. I eat lefty, I kick lefty, but I'm a total righty. I write righty and I throw righty. So the
Interesting.
lick is this with all that. It's left, right, double with your foot. So it's da 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 da. It's just whatever, a quad.
Yep.
Now better butter. Then a left, right single. So it's a group of 7. So you go da da do do da da do. But when you put it fast and your foot's going ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba, it's and it just rolls along and it sounds like you're falling. So when Stevie goes, do a little thing at the end, I'm like, well, that's the easiest thing I got. That sounds like kind of, you're falling. Whatever. And that was it. It was like 2 of those, I think. Maybe 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was hearing some sort of triplet, but I was like, hang on, it's not just triplets because it doesn't does that rolling thing. Okay.
You could look at it like left, right foot, but the first foot's a double. So it's like do, but it doesn't sound. It's not even. It's it's what is it? The bluesda. The bluesda. It's
what Greg teaches. Yeah.
yeah. Nobody loves the bluesda more than him. But that's the bucket of fish. Get it to go. The bluesda is to fusion what the bucket of fish, which I call the roach, because supposedly Max. I asked Carmine a piece. Where did this come from? It's one of my favorite things on drums ever. Get it to go. It said Max Roach. Which Max has a song for Big Sid, which I think is to Sid Catlett. And the song involves the bucket of fish. But that makes me go one step further. Did Max do that lick because Sid did it? And that's where when I find some time, I got to look into some Sid Catlett. But I think I did, and I didn't hear Sid go get it to go. So I'm just calling it the Roach bucket of fish. But yeah, so the bluesda is the fusion with the bucket of fish. Roach is to rock.
and of course everybody else has left the building except drummers.
If you want to show that you know some fusion, throw a bluesda in. And I could do it both ways because I learned it lefty lead. Well, but keeping the snare on that, I come off the rack. Like that was more natural. And I was like, "What? These righties are doing it this way." So I learned it both ways, but it's more comfortable with the left hand going up on the tom. But it's a cool lick. But it's so identifiably fusion. I don't do it. I don't put it in because even though I could go, oh look, hey, he's more than a rock drummer. He knows the bluesda lick. He's got some fusion in him, but I don't really. It just signals. Look at me. I know the fusion lick.
Fantastic.
Look at me.
Thanks for sharing the nerdy side of that.
I'll geek out as hard as anybody for sure. I just geeked out. I just geeked out on the phone before we talked of Night in the Ruts Aerosmith versus Draw the Line Aerosmith.
Oh,
I just did a 10-minute geek out with my buddy because we don't want to go there. I'm just saying.
well, I'm gonna say a little thing for me. Pump is my album.
Oh, you're later era. You're
I'm
like
later
MTV
era, and Pump. Joey's doing some stuff there that is very interesting to me, anyways. Especially,
is Love an Elevator on Pump?
yes.
Okay, you know that's a delay. That's a delay.
I figured he wasn't doubling on the snare sort of thing, but
Well,
yes,
even the ride, the bell isn't din, 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 it's just ding, 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 ding.
see,
The whole
as a
thing
young
is delayed.
as a young drummer, I was doing the ding, the ding, the ding because I thought
It sounds killer. I worked with the producer, and he said they created that like they wanted something new to happen there, so they just like put this big ass delay on the whole thing. Yeah, great though.
Yeah,
No, I love Joey, but I grew up in the '70s, Aerosmith.
Yeah, and his drum sound is just so good and present in that
It's
album.
great.
Yeah.
That stuff sounds great.
Yeah.
If you don't, man, I always got to say this. My first record from Aerosmith was Live Bootleg, which came out in '78, and I absolutely love it. It's in my top 3. It's got to be my top 3 live LPs. But Aerosmith Live Bootleg, raw, completely real, no overdubs. I know they don't like it, whatever, but it's on fire. And Tyler sounds amazing, and Joey Kramer sounds amazing.
Yeah.
The whole band, they sound amazing. They're amazing. If this band came out if a band came out playing like that now, we'd be freaking blown away. Like, where did this come from?
For sure.
It's on the edge, but the songs are killing. They're all playing great. It's awesome.
For sure.
Live Bootleg, yeah.
Last thing about Aerosmith, for me, it's the opener Young Lust on Pump.
Yeah.
Just a little solo he does at the end, and I'm like, what the hell is this? As a kid, this is
If you like Pump, go listen to 3 Mile Smile on Night in the Ruts, or go listen to Nobody's Fault on Rocks. You want to listen to some Joey Kramer. I love Joey, and I do like the new era, but I was so hardcore as a kid. I was glad they came back. I stayed with them through the down period, which people 80s. Say is Night in the Ruts and Rock and a Hard Place, and then they came back with Done in the Mirrors, and Jimmy Crespo and Rick DFK came in, and that's when I saw them live. I was with them through that. I was hardcore Aerosmith, but the new stuff, I'm glad they came out, and the songs are great. Dude Looks Like a Lady, and Pump. Janie's got a gun. It's all great music. I could go on forever. I love Aerosmith, but my start with them with the '70s. So it's and that's where they. Yeah, I think that's where they did the most damage pre MTV and pre comebacks and all that. It was just this raw thing that was just them. And, nobody sounded like that.
Cool. Speaking of another band from back in that time, which you had the occasion to play with, is Foreigner. From like 98 to, I think, on and off, basically from 98 until 2010. Talk to me about that experience of playing with those guys. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, man. I love Foreigner. My biggest memory of Foreigner is, the songs were on the radio and they're huge right out of the gate, the first record. But the second record, because I was a kid, I was young, I was like 9, 10, but 78, Hot Blooded came on the radio. Absolutely loved it. Loved the song. Like instantly, the first time I heard it, I was like, this is the best song going right now. This is it. It's this and freaking My Sharona, right? Like, that's it. But Sharona, I think that was 79. That was a year later.
Yeah,
but
anyways, with the neck, for sure.
I went, Bruce Gary. Another one, Don't Get Me Go, Bruce Gary, My Sharona. Very hard to top that drum intro. Forget it. It's gonna be very, very hard. You're gonna have to come out like some Tony Thompson shit, some Like It Hot or whatever. You're gonna have to go there to top it. You know what I mean? That's or I don't care anymore. Phil Collins,
The Dave Grohl states that My Sharona is what got him excited for drums. So
I love it. How could it not? Foreigner. Here's the thing, and for me, this was a pivotal moment at 10 years old in the summer of '78. Foreigner, the verse in Hot Blood is dum bat ba boom boom bat. It starts bum bat stu bat, right? But the next ones after that are bum bat ba boom boom bat. The skip on the pedal. I was like, this is the best thing ever. I can't do this, and I paid. It was like 2 weeks of struggling, like 2 weeks of trying this thing. I didn't know how to do double. And one day it slipped in. It was like slipping into an expensive pair of slippers. It was just like, whoop, and I went, ba-boom. I was like, I felt it like riding a bike, ba-boom. And I was like, I'm off and running, and I'm not going to stop, man. This is whenever I could put a double in on my foot, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? So thanks to Dennis Elliott, Foreigner's drummer, for that. So that's like, just for me personally, never leaves my head. For all the times I played with Foreigner, which when I joined, it was Lou Gramm singing and Mick Jones. That
Okay.
it was still,
Okay. It was. Okay. It was
Lou
still them.
Gramm,
Okay.
the massive badass that he is.
Yeah.
But I'd look over at Mick in Hot Blooded, and he's going, "Dad, boom, and I go, boom, boom, and I'd be like, I feel like a 10-year-old kid again every night. You know,
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, very, very, that stuff means more to me than a lot. Yeah, you know, it's really important to me. That's what makes that's the stuff that goes further than a paycheck or look at me, I'm in Foreigner, or any of that. That just means a lot to me, and I don't care who knows it or doesn't. And I don't, it's just, it means a lot. Those little things are awesome because of how heavy it was when it happened.
Yeah, I guess you catch yourself like, oh my God, I'm sitting here playing with them, with the actual players. It must be like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that Mick Jones was so cool with me. He was so great all the time, just so nice. Like, it just, whatever I did, and I got that gig, and it was, they had a drummer, they were a band, everything. It's 1998, but I happened to do a demo with producer Marty Fredrickson. He said, I had a band. I was playing guitar and singing. I said, Marty, we had worked together. I want to send you my cassette of my stuff, my new band. He goes, just bring it over tomorrow. Got a song that I wrote with Mick and Lou, and I need some drums. We did the drum track, and then that was it. Mick heard it, and his brother, who was managing him at the time, called me, hey, Mick likes your drumming on this. It's good stuff. Can you get together in like 2 days and jam with them? And it was him and his bass player at the time, Bruce Turgan, and it was just the three of us at the studio, and we just went in and jammed. They recorded it, and he was listening back and comes in. We just jammed through. I went and got their greatest hits and reviewed it.
Okay,
it wasn't like a big. It wasn't like learn these songs exact or.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah.
But we went and played through a bunch of songs, and we're listening to the playback, and then he comes over and goes, "How'd you like to do a record and tour with Foreigner this summer?" And this is 1998, and I was broke in Hollywood, and I was like, "Screw everything! I'm doing my band, and I'm gonna. This is what I'm doing. I didn't care about drums. It was like, yeah, I'm a drummer, but I was doing this guitar singing thing. I just wanted to do original music." So that it all happened at the same time. It was like I did 2 gigs and it was that's a whole other experience. Being a drummer your whole life and then going out and playing guitar and singing heavy riff, screaming, aggressive trio, power trio music. Like I just had to do it. And so anything I do now is not going to be as paranoia inducing or it was really hard to get. I wanted to, but to get on stage in a little club like in Hollywood, just to do it, it was a big hurdle to get over. But once you do it and you go, this is like, because I love the sound of guitar in a band. I didn't care about the singing. I'm not a singer. I just tried, but it was the riff. It was playing a riff with a band, which I just always loved. Make up a riff and hear a drum beat behind and a bass underneath you.
Yeah, being creative.
Oh God! But the sound of a guitar, a heavy guitar with drums and bass, there's just nothing like it. That's another thing. It's like the 2 and 4. It's right next to it for me. So anyway, so that's how I got Foreigner and did that for 2 years, and then went to Ozzy in 2000, just because I'd heard about it, and Foreigner didn't have much work booked that year. Much work booked that year. Yeah. Work booked.
That makes sense.
They didn't book much work this year. It sounds like I said it backwards.
It made sense.
Yeah, I got in the Ozzy thing, but I always stayed good with Foreigner, and I fill in here and there over the years, and rejoined 2009 and 10, something like that. Yeah. And still fill in if they call me. I love them. I just did it's just one of those things where they work a lot, and I had kids, and it was a balance of like, how much do you want to do this Foreigner world for years, year after year, versus maybe other things happening in your life, trying to balance staying home, working, but not only being the Foreigner drummer for 20 years. As much as I love them, it's not my band, so I want to do other. It's similar to like when I left Whitesnake. I told David, you're why I'm leaving. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, because you're an inspiration, man. You left Purple and started Whitesnake. Like
Mm.
that's massive.
Yeah.
You kept going, dude. That's
Yeah.
not there's no you could have left Purple and that's it, but you're a badass and you're driven
Yeah.
and you have big ambitions and you did it. You did it. I I have to try. And he totally understood. Like what, you know what I mean? I'm
Okay.
not getting any younger. This was like back in 2013. So
Okay.
yeah, that's yeah. Some drummers will stay in a band because the drummers and they got a good gig, and I get it. But that's the fine balance, you know.
Yeah.
You want
Eventually, you want to try other things, man. You just want to try other things, and I totally understand that for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it's you never know what like it's happiness and it's success to yourself. You know, I'm playing in Foreigner, and it's not. I never take it for granted. I
Mm.
don't. I never would. They can get 1,000 drummers in there, you know. But luckily, whatever I did worked with Mick
Yeah.
and Lou. Lou's a drummer, so it worked with
Oh,
them
okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know
because
Lou was a drummer.
Lou was originally a drummer. He's
Okay.
you know. So you got these two badasses, and whatever I'm doing worked with them, and I'm very happy that it did because it got me out of being fucking broke in Hollywood, which is the truth. It did. It did. I was going broke, and I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna get my band going. I'm
Mm.
making like
Yeah.
hopefully I can pay the bills this month. Like, you know. And I
Yeah.
had already played with Zach and played with Slash, but like there's ups and downs, man. You know, like
Yeah.
things change.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you run out of money here in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But um, you know, so I will forever be appreciative of Mick giving me that opportunity, and then being in Mick and Lou's world, and them accepting me.
Mm,
You
that's
know,
very nice.
it was really, yeah, really cool, really.
I have to ask because it's my dad's favorite. He just loved the song. I want to know what love is. How is it to play just that song, that ballad, just
Perfect
keep
fucking
keep
song.
time and just that space and
Well,
yeah.
the thing about I Want to Love is I don't know what style you call it, but there's a flow to it on the drums. The original groove is, and it's 4/4, but
There's a bit of syncopation with the
it's like
kick
a
though.
6. Is that well?
Yeah.
There's a syncopation, but there's an extra like 2 quarter notes at the end of every fourth bar. I think I never mapped it out,
Yeah.
but you got to go deuce, get deuce, deuce. So
Yeah.
your hi hat's deuce, deuce, but that's got to swing,
Yeah.
and the back you got to lay back. You know, and it's just a nice relaxed tempo, but you're pushing, but you're laying back.
Yeah.
Deuce, get deuce, deuce, get deuce, get deuce, deuce. Here it comes, chat. Deuce, get deuce, deuce, get deuce, deuce, get. That's the ending. So it's every third. It's fucking great, dude. Where did Mick come up with this in a ballad? And
Yeah.
Lou, it's perfect. The first time I heard that in high school,
Yeah.
I was like, this is the biggest song in the world. As soon as I heard it on MTV, I went, this is the biggest song in the world right now. Like, and it was #1 everywhere. It's just you heard it, and it was like,
It was.
it's massive when they got
Yeah.
to that chorus.
Yeah.
It's just stupid massive, you
Yeah.
know. So it's just one of those songs, and I love playing every song with Foreigner. That to me that was kind of just another song, but I'm a freaking a long way from home guy. Feels like the first time.
Time. Yeah.
Hot blooded.
All right. Cold as ice, I imagine.
Yeah, like I mean, the set is insane. Like I loved all the songs,
Yeah.
but the top ones for me, if I had to pick one, I got to say Hot Blooded and Long Way from Home, because when Lou's like, "It was a Monday, just like any other day," and then mix all wah, 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 wah. It's just like right out of the gate, like, and yeah, love it. Love that song. Those guys are freaking badasses, man. Mick Jones, he
No, for
found
sure.
Lou Graham to sing his stuff, and Lou comes in and does his thing to it. This is rare shit that happens, man.
Mm.
When a Neil Sean gets together with a Steve Perry, when a Tom Schultz finds a Brad Delt, it's come on, man. And greatness is made like high level, stupid high level stuff, like stupid, timeless, high level. That's how massive that shit is. You don't just get writers together. Put any of those songs on now from any of those guys I just mentioned. It's as good or better than everything going on now.
For sure.
And that's the 70s. 70s were the best decade for rock. It all lined up.